All right, good evening and welcome to the, is this on? All right, good evening and welcome to the Caledonia Township Planning Commission for May 19th, 2025. Roll call, Macefield is absent with notice. McLean. Here. Bradshaw. Here. Everly.
Here.
Lindsay.
Here.
Cutler.
Yes.
And Curtis is also here. I need a motion for the meeting agenda.
Move approval of tonight's agenda.
Support.
Motion by Bradshaw, support by Cutler. All those in favor say aye, or any discussion? Sorry. Any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? We have an agenda. This time we have a public comment period brief up to 2 minutes for anyone who would like to get up and talk. Please note that both items on the agenda tonight are public hearings and we'll have a specific time to talk about those if you'd like. So anybody here for 2 minutes of narration for us? Seeing none, we will close the public comment period. I need a motion for the consideration of the meeting minutes for the April 21st, 2025 meeting.
So moved.
Moved by Eberly, support by
Support.
McLean. Any discussion, changes, any other items on that? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion passes. Inquire of a conflict of interest for any agenda items on tonight's meeting.
I would like to just lay my story out for the commission. I am adjacent to and across the river from the proposed rezoning. I don't have an opinion either way on it, but I don't want to set a precedent where somebody is in a position of saying yes or no over what happens in their neighbor's yard. So I would recuse myself on that basis, but I think the procedure is for the commission to decide if that's a conflict and vote.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, ma'am.
I'm in the same position. I'm not across the river, I'm diagonally across, but we're close. We're close neighbors.
You know, I think the threshold is financial interest in it,
Or family.
or family,
Okay.
something that, like, I mean, I had my neighbors, I called it out and then I was told that that didn't apply either.
Okay.
So,
Well, I think it's a commission's choice. I'll go either way with it.
yeah, just a nod. Anybody see an issue?
Okay, thank you.
Seeing none. First agenda item, this is a public hearing and consideration of a zoning request for Todd Shaw, 7611 68th Street, parcel 412310 201-001. Unfortunately, Todd was not able to make it tonight for a family emergency, but asked us to continue on. So Ms. Lene, please give us a
Sure.
little presentation
Sure,
about
this is a request to rezone 1.7 acres. It's currently zoned C2. And they're seeking the rezoning to the R2 district. R,
1.7 or 0.7?
0.7.
You said
Thank you.
1.7.
Thank you. Thank you all. 0.7 acres. They're looking to rezone to R2. The subject site is within the community residential land use category in our 2024 master plan, and community residential corresponds with the R2 zoning district. So this request is consistent with R2. I also want to point out that the size of the parcel is smaller than what R2 requires. However, in section 8.5 of our zoning ordinance, we allow parcels to be built upon as long as there's a minimum of 1,700 square feet of area and that they meet 75% of the applicable setback dimensions. That will be reviewed at the time of zoning permit and building permit application by the zoning administrator. We did review the request according to our review standards in the zoning ordinance. The use is compatible, the proposed zoning is compatible with adjacent uses. Adjacent uses are residential. It would promote the intent and the natural environment We do have special setbacks for waterfront property. They would have to meet those according to our ordinance and be consistent with the capacities of public services and facilities. This parcel would be required to connect or provide water, wastewater for its property. And the rezoning protects public health, safety, and welfare. It would not adversely affect public health, safety, and welfare. And as mentioned previously, they would have to comply with our zoning ordinance for any new development. This is a public hearing, so you can open that up for public comment. And I did mention to Chairman Curtis that I spoke with the applicant. They do have that family emergency. They do wish us to continue on this, and they're very sorry they can't be here tonight, but they will be at future board meetings.
Any board or commission members have any questions for Lene before I open the public hearing?
Could you clarify for me, you said something about water and sewer, that they need to?
Well, they would have to provide, their own well and
Okay,
septic or
okay, that's
whatever type of utility.
I
correct.
misunderstood that they were gonna
I
connect.
just
to-
generalized, sorry,
Okay,
yes.
no, that's fine.
Well and
Thank you.
septic.
All right, at this time, we'll open the public hearing for item 6A for the rezoning. Anyone? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing for item 6A. Commissioners, any comments or a motion
This would be a
or
recommendation.
recommendations to the board?
I make a motion that we recommend approval of the rezoning request from C2 to R2 for the subject property due to its alignment with the master plan.
Support. Motion by Eberly, support by McLean.
No, by Bradshaw.
Bradshaw, sorry. I looked at him.
I'm
and said
flattered.
it, yeah. Any further discussion, comments? Roll call, McLean,
Yes.
Bradshaw,
Yes.
Eberly,
Yes.
Lindsay,
Yes.
Cutler,
Yes.
Curtis votes yes. Recommendation to the board passes. Item 6B, public hearing and consideration of application of Craig Hopton. Did I get that? Okay. On behalf of J&H Family Stores to amend the approved Valley Point South Industrial Park PUD and to amend the final development plan for the PUD as to parcel 6 of the PUD. The proposed amendment would add gasoline service station as a permitted use within the PUD and would amend the site plan for the PUD to allow for the construction of the 2 proposed new buildings within parcel 6 of the PUD, a gasoline service station with drive-through facilities and a retail building with drive-through facilities. Ms. Linay.
Okay, thank you all. You have several items in your packet tonight about this case. You have letters from the applicant's attorney, you have a lighting plan, you have a lighting spreadsheet, you have some email correspondence from the applicant and the property owner to the township. You have a stormwater management narrative, as well as a site plan, a review from the township engineer, a review from myself. I did have a call with the attorney for the project stating that they will be requesting that this be postponed, but they still want to hold the public hearing. They'd like us to provide that overview of the project and the staff report. And then they also plan to do an introduction and presentation to you tonight as well. I'm sure that you've read the staff reports and you have noticed that there are some items that we need to review and have in order to confirm whether and how the application meets our zoning ordinance. So, no, I'm happy to go into great detail in this, 12-page review, but it is quite extensive because the applicant is looking for several things. They're looking to amend the PUD because the use of gasoline service station is not a listed permitted use in the Valley Points Industrial Park PUD. They're also simultaneously asking for site plan review. And because of the drive-through facilities, there is that kind of special use element which goes with that site plan review, because there are 2 drive-throughs that are included. So there are 3 buildings on the property. It's the buildings are labeled C-store. I believe that is where there's also a drive-through in that C-store, but that is all the information that's shown on the plans. So one of the questions we had was, well, what is the use of that drive-through with a convenience store? They have a building that is 8,100 square feet. That's a retail building. That's what it's labeled, but they're also showing a drive-through there. So that was one of the questions about the actual use of a retail building. And then there's also a building which is a gasoline pump canopy. That's 5,800 square feet. It has 6 2-sided pumps. In our staff report, we provided you an overview of some of the history of this project, dating back to 1996, when the original PUD was created for the Valley Point South Industrial Park. That I included excerpts from that ordinance, including the nature of development, which states that 6 of the 7 sites shall be developed in one of the following uses: warehouse, professional office, or retail sales. So that is what applies to this parcel. There's also a history of this parcel. Just most recently in 2021, Max Fitness, you amended the PUD to allow that use, the fitness use. In 2011, you amended the PUD to allow C1 uses on parcel 8, and that's for the Milestones Childcare. In 2004, there was an amendment to the PUD for restaurant, which is now the Wendy's on parcel 5. And that parcel 5 has also been split into parcel 5A and 5. In 2001, there was an amendment to the PUD to allow additional lands, which is now the Uccello site. And then in 2000, WDS Ventures sought site plan approval for this parcel, this lot 3, for gas station, car wash, restaurant. It was never built, and the site plan expired. And then we get to the 1996 PUD. So we did provide some overview of our comments related to the PUD amendment, also the design standards and the standards for site plan review. There are several items that were deficient that I'll just list out for you that I know the applicant's aware of. So the first one was really a better understanding of the nature of the uses. And that's important because it impacts our understanding of how the site will operate, especially at this corner of our township that's heavily traveled. There are a lot of changes happening at this corner with, of course, 84th, with Broadmoor, with Cherry Valley. All of that needs to be understood. Also, with uses, we determine our parking requirements based on use. And so without a better understanding of the use of retail and also the C-store, it's difficult for us to determine the parking. The lighting, while we have a lighting plan, the lighting spreadsheet is not completed. It's not fully filled out. It's missing some data. Parking, we found that some of the parking spaces were smaller than what our ordinance requires, as well as some of the parking is included in the required greenbelt area. And the greenbelt area that's required, the 25-foot greenbelt, is kind of cut off. It's less than what's required in our ordinance. There's also a retaining wall in a portion of that greenbelt area. And you know from our master plan how important that greenbelt is to the township. Sidewalks, we wanted to have a better understanding of some of the sidewalks. on all four sides of the project and opportunities that we can maybe look at how best to think through pedestrian circulation, especially when we have our trail system in place today, as well as planned extensions of that trail system with the M37 expansion. Emergency services is something that we brought up in the memo. And the reason why emergency service and access is important is that we have our fire district, or our fire barn here in this Valley Point Industrial Park. They utilize Valley Point Drive, they utilize M37 and 84th, and it's important for us to understand how this use might impact the internal circulation system. The applicant is not proposing any drive access on M37 specifically. All of their access is internal here in the PUD, and that will present new circulation and higher traffic counts than we have today, of course, because it's a vacant site. So we need to better understand what's happening, especially in these internal roads. Grading, we heard from the applicant's engineer that with the plans for the MDOT expansion, so the grading plans for MDOT are not yet finalized, which will impact this property and what the final grades are here and how they intend to balance the site. So that is something that is remaining. The traffic study was submitted to the township. I sent it all to the Planning Commission, but we want to make sure that we're having conversations with the Road Commission and tangentially with MDOT on the implications of this property to these roadways, which are being redesigned sort of as we speak. So there are a couple of things, the other thing on this that is not on this list today, but it is in the report, is the architectural drawings. Some of the drawings do not include, they're mislabeled. Some of them do not contain the detail that we need to determine compliance with our ordinance standards. So that's kind of the high level overview of some of the items that would really help us determine compliance with our zoning ordinance, the Broadmoor Cherry Valley overlay, our master plan, and the existing PUD ordinance for this project. But I'm happy to answer any other questions or get into more detail on things, but I just thought kind of giving you a bigger overview would be helpful at this point.
Thank you. Does anyone have anything for Lene? I'll start. Just one quick question. We haven't changed anything in our ordinance in the recent 6 months, year, that would affect the design requirements or anything that they would be required to do at this site?
No, I'm not aware of any. We have a package of zoning amendments that are headed to the township board on Wednesday. In that package of amendments, there are items related to architectural standards for office, and the uses, at least that are labeled on the plans, do not include office. There are some standards in there related to internal access drives. I don't think that applies since it's just a single site here. But I'm happy to send those proposed amendments to the applicant. And then prior to that, our amendment package, I don't think includes any, but I'm happy to provide that.
Where I'm getting at is the ordinance has been around for a while, so
Yeah.
it shouldn't be confusing what our requirements are
Not that
in the
I'm aware
township,
of.
and everybody's been playing by those rules. We haven't changed anything that would affect this.
Not that I'm aware of.
All right. Anybody have anything before we call the applicant up? All right. Give us your name and tell us how awesome your project is, but really
I
at
thought this
this.
was gonna be easy.
Really, our major question is,
Yeah, I
do you
understand.
comply with the ordinance or not? And I think we have a whole list as to why,
No question.
or it does not, and, yeah, you heard my question. You really don't have any excuse as to why you don't.
Not here to give you any excuses.
Can you hear okay on the microphone? Okay.
Want me to move it up?
Yeah.
Can you hear me now? All right. My name is Jeffrey Hundley. I'm one of the partners with Broadmoor 84th, along with Craig Hoppen and Charlie Lurg, who are also with me, as well as our attorney, architect, and engineer. And the reason we're here tonight with a lot of the vagueness that Lene has kind of pointed out is that we purchased the property back in 2022, and started the process, immediately met with all the members in the PUD that are directly adjacent to the property that was originally approved in 96, I think it was, and to get feedback from all those people. And we received unanimous approval, everyone's blessing, with the C-store, the retail, and the gas station. So our next step was to start coming up with some conceptual plans, meet with Lene, and start that process. If you remember, we were on the agenda originally back in January 20th, and we were taken off the agenda, I think at our request. That was a Ohio State-Michigan football game night. So amongst other reasons, we felt it was best to postpone, which would also give us some time to address some of the issues that have been raised, many issues. In our defense, one of the moving targets that has fluctuated since we purchased the property is we've been told that we have to incorporate changes that were happening on Broadmoor Avenue, but we didn't know what those changes were. And we kept being told we gotta incorporate changes. We weren't getting answers. We had dialogue with the state, but we weren't getting specific answers. And that has a big impact on our project, obviously. We have since worked with them. We think we have a plan that we received in December, and we're making the changes to the site plan based on what the state's gonna do with Broadmoor and 84th Street. We think we're getting close on the site plan issues, but there are a long list of items, but the goal tonight was to get the PUD public hearing process started so that we can hopefully be tabled and then work with staff to work through those several items, which our intent is to abide by everything the township is requiring. There's some variations where there is some flexibility within the PUD that we may ask for a little leniency with explanation. But if not, then we'll proceed based on what the township, we think we have some good arguments on why we should do certain things. And if it doesn't work, then we'll abide with what the township wants. The staff memorandum that we received stated, I think there's 48, 49 issues, which is enormous. But staff hasn't seen that since that memo, we have complied with 80, 90% of those, but we haven't circulated because we didn't want to confuse the process any more than it already was. So we're working through those things. Our architect is here. Craig Hoppen, the owner of J&H, is here. I handle the retail side. I'm here to answer any questions. But our goal tonight was an introduction, tell you who we are. This is a J&H family store. It's not a truck stop. There's no truck parking. It's not a problem like maybe elsewhere in the township. The retail center, I know there's questions about uses, but in the retail development, we don't know the uses. I can tell you we have one, we have a Jimmy John's, and that's the only commitment we have from any of the retail. So when we build these buildings, we have to come back in for building permits for each individual use, and we have to abide by the ordinance, and we have to have adequate parking as we go along. So we would do that, and that's a process that we're used to doing, but we don't know our uses 95% of the time until the building's up. And then we start getting letters of intent. And same with the drive-through at the end of the J&H. it's a QSR, quick serve restaurant, which could be a Subway, could be a Jimmy John's, a coffee shop, those type of uses. But we're here to answer any questions, and our goal is to comply with the ordinance, be a good neighbor, and we'd like to get started in 2025. So if you have any questions, we have everybody here that can answer.
Does anyone else want to give up and get up, give a little presentation on their component of it, or? Public hearing.
I may just make one real quick, sorry.
Yep, go ahead.
Seth Arthur from Varnum, attorney to the applicant. Again, I just want to reinforce, we do understand there's a number of issues that the staff has highlighted, and so we're really just trying to hope that the Planning Commission will table this tonight and allow us an opportunity to work with staff to fix those things, to get those things where they need to be. We understand that there were things that were concerning to staff, and we want to address those things. And so again, we want to introduce ourselves tonight. We wanted, obviously, for the public hearing process to occur and to allow the public to speak, but we also want to make clear that our intentions are to supply supplemental information and to work with staff to address the concerns outlined in the memorandum. And we think we can do that, and we certainly are going to try to do that. And so we just want to make that clear tonight. That's the intention. And that if the Planning Commission could table any decision so that we can work with staff to fix those things, we would really appreciate it. That would be our goal. Because again, we do understand that those are issues, and we will be working to address those. A number of those we have addressed in the meantime and need to circulate that material to the staff for them to see and get feedback from them. But we do understand that in this process, we're allowing the public hearing to occur and then turning to work with staff to fix some of those issues. Thanks.
And again, my name is Craig Hoppin, owner of J&H Oil Company, J&H Family Stores. I think most of you guys are familiar. We've been in the neighborhood now for 50 plus years. I think our closest one here is probably over next door in Meadowville. But just wanted to make myself available for any questions you would have regarding the gas station convenience store. Again, just looking for your comments and directions. So thank you.
Anyone else from the applicant? All right, at this time, we will open the public hearing portion of item 6B. Typical, we have a 3-minute time limit. If you'd like to get up and talk, speak clearly into the microphone. Your name is nice as well.
Can you hear me?
I can.
I am Bernie Herman, own FCC Construction. We got just under 100 employees. I think I started with Don back here 36 years ago, and I think about 5 years into it, we started pricing building gas stations up here. We never thought that there wouldn't be, and I've seen the gas stations go up down the road. Brian Harris and I had a few conversations about that. I feel like that kind of takes care of the M6 corridor area. I was born and raised here. I'm building a new house right up the hill here. I'm in the process, the end of the month I close, and I'm buying this building from Gary. We're gonna start working on growing into that building, and I could literally bring probably 95 guys in here that want that gas station to go there. We've been craving Jimmy John's, Beer Cave, convenience store, and get fuel with all their families and everything. It's gonna continue to get busy around here. You can see the growth in Caledonia. We're not gonna stop it, so I feel that I'm 100% for it, so.
All right. Thanks, Bernie.
Thanks, Bernie.
Anyone else? I'm gonna close it if you're moving.
Is this all public? I mean, like,
Yeah.
you can.
Yeah, you got 3 minutes to talk about this.
This is my first time here. I gotta follow the lead. I'm Jordan Baker. I own Komodo Motors, which is across the street. I know you guys are all familiar with that place. Everyone here is. All I can say is that, you know, I've known this guy in the community for a long time. I've met Charlie here recently. And I believe in what these guys are doing. And having a local family-owned business here is, I think, what we're all about. I mean, there's enough Taco Bells and AutoZones and O'Reilly's that, I mean, I'm all for the family business. And with FCC, I mean, I've got guys across the street. I'm all for the Jimmy John's. Let's go. I mean, seriously. I mean, I'm all for that. That's a national, but we don't have any close sandwich shops to be able to go to. There's one other one, you know, in town, but I know how hard the requirements are to be able to follow. But it's making community, and it's making Caledonia a beautiful place. I'm all for it. You know, I know we got to put in 100 different trees to be able to make the place look right and to be able to be compliant. But at the end of the day, it does look good. And there is a reason why all this business is coming to Caledonia. There's a reason why how many housing developments are being built. There's a reason why there's a new school going in. I'm all for it. I love that it's a local business. I love that there's retail going in that's gonna hopefully bring in more local businesses and local family. That's what I want. And when they finally put this site plan out, I love it. I'm all for it. So whatever support we can give them as their neighbor. I know if FCC's vouching for him, I'm vouching for him. I know how much he's done in the community over however, I mean, what, 30, 40, 50 years you've been doing work around here? All for it. So I trust these guys, and any leniency that they can have. I know you guys have given us leniency, and I love it. All we're hoping to do is make Caledonia a better place at the end of the day, and something that our families can shop, our employees can shop, have convenience, and not leave the community to be able to do it. So appreciate all you guys. Thanks for having us out tonight.
All right.
Thank you,
Thanks, Jordan. Anyone else? Going once for the shy people? All right, we will close the public comment period of this. Really, our traditional standpoint is we don't solve your problems. You present a packet to us and we approve or deny or table on that. I don't know if any of the commissioners have any comments that they'd like to make at this time, questions, concerns. It's obvious we don't have the most current things, so what we may discuss may already be covered, we don't know. But I'm happy to hear anybody. Seeing none, I'll make a motion to table item 6B until such time the applicant comes back.
Support.
Motion by Curtis, support by Everly. Any further discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed. Motion to table passes. Hold on, John, I've lost my agenda.
I usually lose mine. It's in here
Someone,
somewhere.
thank you.
Yours is right here, though.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have no unfinished business. Public comment period extended up to 5 minutes if anybody would like to talk for 5 minutes. Anyone? Seeing none. Second not being available on June 16th.
I'm sorry, can you,
June 16th.
oh, we don't have a meeting that day anyway.
Oh, that's right, she told me that, and then I was like, okay, that's good.
Yes. Our next meeting is July.
Updates as well, you did that at the same time?
I also wanted to introduce Ginger, our new staff member. So Ginger Schmidt is going to be taking over for Ellie. She'll be here on Mondays from about 8 to 1. And she'll be handling the minutes and helping with packets and helping with research and just doing all the support, kind of behind the scenes support for the planning department.
All right, welcome. No additional correspondence or staff updates?
No.
All right, item 10, 11.
I move that we adjourn this meeting.
Motion by Everly, support by someone. Support. McLean. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion adjourned, or meeting adjourned.
You know, I told my wife I wouldn't be home till 9 o'clock tonight.
I know.
You stopped recording, correct?